Hi guys, my name is Tom Antos, and today I wanted to talk about anamorphic lenses. Many people sort of throw that word around in the filmmaking world, and I'm not sure if they're quite aware, exactly what anamorphic really means. Anamorphic is, other than just the sort of wider aspect ratio that you would see, especially in the kind of older, more epic films. It also just simply means that, those films are recorded with different kind of optics that give it that anamorphic look. Now, what is the anamorphic, lens sort of look that you get? First, to understand it maybe better, I'll sort of talk about briefly a little bit about the history of where anamorphic lenses and the anamorphic kind of way of filming things, come from. First, sort of anamorphic lenses were actually created back in the day, pretty much when filmmaking started. In World War I, there was actually, I believe, somewhere in France. First sort of, that's where the first anamorphic lenses were created for military use. So they allowed you to basically film a really wide aspect ratio. So those lenses, I believe, could film like almost 180-degree field of view. Now, really, the first time that anamorphic lenses were being used in the, for filmmaking purposes was in the early 50s. That's because that's when the whole CinemaScope, idea was born. And that was just a way for movie studios to bring, a lot of the people who started watching stuff on televisions back to the movie theaters. And the problem with implementing that whole idea of, filming everything and projecting movies with this wide aspect ratio was that, the whole film industry was set around, filming basically on a 35mm film that you would run vertically, from top to bottom. The challenges with that were basically you could invert the film sideways, which would allow you to film, wider aspect ratio picture, but then you would have to create new cameras, new printing houses, new projectors in the cinema, so obviously that wasn't going to happen. So one way that people sort of got around it was by just taking a conventional aspect ratio of a 35mm film and sort of, you could say, squeezing the image. And then exposing the film that way. And then when the films were being projected in the movie theaters, all they had to do is put on a sort of a lens adapter on the projectors in the movie theaters that would then sort of stretch out the image horizontally. The advantage of doing it that way versus, for example, just simply shooting it, let's say standard aspect ratio, and then cropping it off, a top and bottom like we do right now with when we shoot, let's say 16:9 HD footage, then we just simply crop top and bottom to make it look like it's wider aspect ratio. The reason why that wasn't really, it was an option, but it didn't look very good, is because back in the day, film just wasn't as sharp, wasn't as the grain was a lot more visible and that kind of stuff. So they really wanted to make sure that they got as much of the resolution that film could capture. So they wanted to basically fill up the whole frame. And now the way that anamorphic lenses work, or the way that they're built, is usually you just have a typical sort of a spherical lens, like you would use for most still photography or filmmaking purposes these days. But then either on the front part of the lens or on the back part of the lens, they would put sort of another piece of glass that another lens basically that would essentially just either stretch out or compact the field of view. The problem with that, or maybe I shouldn't say a problem, but sort of the artifacts that would be created by that would be the sort of the bokeh or the out of focus area in your image, or any sort of highlights. They would take on this sort of a stretched shape. A lot of times they just simply created sort of an oval almost shape on it. Another thing that would also happen is that as the light would sort of bounce in, and you had, for example, light flares coming in, because you the extra glass element and because of the coating on it, you would get these horizontal streaks that usually had sort of they usually have a sort of a blue tint to it. Now those, like I said, those are sort of the artifacts of filming with anamorphic lenses, but they are in fact simply because they've been used in so many of these epic films, that have been done in Hollywood since the early 50s. They are sort of, I would say, accepted now by the general public, and they are, they almost create that very cinematic feel. And that's something that a lot of filmmakers these days, try to emulate by when using digital cameras. And probably the best way to do it is just simply, just to actually get anamorphic lenses. Now the problem with that is that those lenses obviously are not cheap, and they're also not very easy to find, and that's just simply because like I said, they've been designed specifically for those kind of film applications back in the day. There hasn't been that many of those lenses made also, and even right now in filmmaking, a lot of films are shot on newer spherical or round glass, simply because we no longer have really the need for the anamorphic way of filming to get that wider aspect ratio with good image quality. But there are still some movies being shot with anamorphic lenses, or especially a lot of music videos I've seen where people just want to get that very sort of old school, very sort of cinematic look. So that's one way of going. Another way of doing it is just simply by using filters or doing some effects in post to make your digital, your videos right now look like they were almost shot using anamorphic lenses without actually having to use them. So one way that I came across is these filters. So these are CineMorph filters from VidAtlantic. I'm going to post all the links for you guys on my website so you can check out different options they provide. And literally what it is just it's a filter. This one's a 58mm thread that you can thread on top of your on the front of your standard lenses. And as you can see, it has pretty much like a little aperture in the shape of an oval, and that forces or makes the bokeh or the highlighted parts of your image that are out of focus take on that shape. So we'll basically take on this shape, which is exactly the kind of shape, this kind of elongated shape that anamorphic lenses create. Another thing, the other artifact that you would want to create is also the horizontal light streaks. You can actually create that fairly easy. You can literally take a fishing line or dental floss, and you can just put a string vertically from top to bottom in front of your lens. You can just experiment tonight if you guys have time, and literally just point it at a piece of light, or some kind of a headlights, or from a car or something, and you will notice that piece of like I said, it has to be semi-transparent. A piece of like I said, fishing line or dental floss maybe will catch that light, and it will stretch it and create this sort of a horizontal streak. And that's one way that's also what these guys here at VidAtlantic do, where, like I said, they created this oval shape, but in the middle here you also have this sort of a very finely perfectly positioned little string that will catch the light for you and will create those horizontal streaks. But right now I'm gonna just go out here on the beach and just get a couple of shots. Not so much testing out the streak part of it, the filter, simply because it's it's going to be hard to catch any streaks, but just the out of focus sort of bokeh area. You can see the effect of that. Okay, so here's a few random shots that I got at night, just so you guys can see how the streaks actually look with this filter. And as you can notice, I mean, it creates those kind of bluish streaks and also some of those secondary kind of flares, which are actually pretty similar to what real anamorphic lenses create. So yeah, you can get pretty close to the kind of anamorphic look without actually having to use real anamorphic lenses. And now, if you guys want to minimize the flares, then here I just use the lens without any matte packs on it. But if you actually put a matte packs and you kind of flag off some of the light from the sides, then you can control the flares a lot more. So that they only appear when you have that light source that's sort of hitting the lens head on. So as you guys can see, you can get some pretty neat effects with these filters. They actually come in different sort of types and sizes. Like I said, this is the one that has both the bokeh and the horizontal streak filter in it. You can also get, like for example, this one has just a streak filter in it. You can get one that has just a bokeh in it, etc. And you can also get these different step-up rings, so you can adjust it and use it on different size lenses. Again, for all that information, check out my website. I'm going to provide all the links for you guys. And yeah, if you're looking to sort of to take your videos and maybe put it take it to the next step and give it that sort of old school, very cinematic look, then these filters might be the way for you to go. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that there's a film that I made a while back. It's called the Dragon Hunt, and if you haven't seen it, you can check out the video by following the link in the description of this video, or you can find again the links on my website. And I've entered this film right now into the Sony Production Awards. It's a contest, and I'm hoping to win. So the only way I can win it though is with your support. So please, again, just follow the links. Go. It takes a few minutes to sort of register and click vote for my film, but it would mean a lot. And if I win, then I'm going to win some cool gear that will again allow me to do some more tutorials, but also some cool films and stuff like that for you guys to enjoy. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.